Howdy folks, Jamboree here. This is my Patreon, a site where my fans can pledge financial support to me as a creator, and those that donate are rewarded with amazing perks. One such prize being the chance to request a review of anything at all, and today I'll be responding to a Patron requested review of Pokémon Heroes. Ash, Misty and Brock are visiting the quaint city of Alto-Mare, where they meet legendary Pokémon Latios and Latias, who are guardians of the city and the powerful Soul Dew Gem. However, Team Rocket spies, Annie and Oakley, steal said jewel and pokenap Latios, so that they can exploit Alto-Mare's emergency defense mechanism. Before anything, I must be clear that this is a review of the English dub of Pokémon Heroes, and that I'm very aware that 4Kids made some notable changes for their quote-unquote translation. Many folks actually call this the best Pokémon movie. Personally, I've not seen every Pokémon film, so I can't fairly agree or disagree. However, I can say that it's one of the better Pokémon movies that I've seen. First of all, it's actually one of the more accessible Pokémon films. Not only does it open up with a concise and easy to follow introduction to Pokémon show lore, but it also has a very straightforward storyline that mainly relies on the mythology of its compact setting.
Those are known as the Guardians of Altamar. That's Latios on the left and Latias on the right. Legend has it that they watch over our town and protect us in case of danger.
Heck, the film's charming simplicity is actually its central appeal. Instead of relying on fancy bells and whistles, Pokémon Heroes goes for modest filmmaking and humbly lets its core ideas and themes be the selling point. One such highlight being the stunning city of Alto-Mare. This Venetian-inspired island isn't just a beautiful backdrop for our story, but also incredibly immersive too. The movie does an exceptional job at drawing us into this Mediterranean-influenced Pokémon location by letting us really soak in its culture and scenery before the main plot kicks in, as we get to enjoy exploring the quiet streets or taking relaxing gondola rides. There's also this endearing fairy tale vibe to the movie as well, a sense of wonder that goes hand in hand with the film's magical Eurocentric setting, as we stumble into a mysterious secret garden that's full of enchanting curiosities, including 2 legendary Pokémon that are treated as sacred to the city, and a beautiful jewel MacGuffin with a haunting backstory.
He used all his power to bring the water, and then vanished into thin air.
But in his place, there was a beautiful crystal orb called the Soul Dew.
Speaking of Latias and Latios, these siblings are another delight. Sure, there's no denying that they're very cute, but they're more than that. These are very tight-knit siblings that are passionately protective of each other while being extra cautious of outsiders. However, if a human can gain their trust, then said person will be rewarded with all of their love and an affectionate invitation to play with them. At the same time, they also add to the movie's whimsical aesthetic, with their wide array of fantastical powers that can bend reality and perspective. Although, these moves aren't purely cosmetic, because they also become integral to the story later, and serve as creative ways of pushing things forward.
How'd we get in here?
What's going on, Ash? Sight sharing.
Now, yes, I won't beat around the bush. This is yet another Pokémon movie that follows the usual formula of evil human villain tries to exploit legendary Pokémon for power and control. However, as deja vu as that sounds, these villains do what they can to be a fresh, inventive burger in a sea of Big Macs. For example, while our villains are here to fit a franchise trope, they have so much flavor and texture as antagonists because the movie has gallons of imaginative fun with their exciting spy-inspired evil. It's hard to not be captivated by Annie and Oakley's whole espionage package, as the Team Rocket duo show off their versatile vehicles built for shadowy crimes and advanced spy gear that can be intelligently utilized for every step of their scheme.
Hold on a sec. It's written in some kind of code.
Are you gonna be able to crack it?
And these villains' chosen Pokemon are great too, because they both bring something to the table as assistants to spies, with Espeon basically being a tranquilizer, and Ariados is practically a net launcher. Wise picks movie, wise picks. I also really like how these two bounce off of each other and come off as genuinely close, as the two bond over their passions for spying, legendary artifacts, and even fashion.
We're just trying to prevent a fashion disaster.
Well, this is no way to do it!
Oh? Would you like to give her some tips instead?
With Annie being the fun, laid-back one, who is just in this crime for shallow perks, while Oakley is the far more ambitious criminal who serves as the team's resident gearhead and legends expert.
Well, it turns out you have to use the Soul Dew to power it.
Why do they call it the Soul Dew?
They say it contains the soul of a Latios.
Then we get to when our villains finally gain power over the defense mechanism. What makes this finale worth investing in is the very thing that drew us into the movie in the first place: Altomare itself. What was once a tranquil and beautiful island that we all fell for is now an omnipotent and destructive weapon in the hands of an intelligent yet deranged villain who maniacally delights in a new Poseidon-like control while sat on a steampunk throne. It's very easy to care about the corruption of Altomare's defenses when the movie did such an excellent job of making this place feel so homely, warm and welcoming.
Great race, Misty. Hey, why don't you let me show you around Altamar?
Really?
Pokemon Heroes is also an environmental movie, but you don't really notice that until the hindsight hits, because its lesson goes for metaphorical subtext over preachy lecturing. The film simply puts its story first and lets its environmental message speak for itself, like a side dish that complements its main course. You see, Heroes cleverly utilizes its unique setting's original elements to explore how disturbing nature's balance can cause a rippling domino effect, and that achieving consequence-free power can come at the cost of giving up your humanity and senses, as those in control ignore repercussions to their actions and feel totally entitled to reap their surroundings.
I don't care if your town dries up. With this machine, I have the power to control the entire world if I want to.
However, the movie has a sense of bittersweet hope, because Latios' eventual sacrifice, while sad, symbolizes a noble and powerful sentiment about selflessness always trumping selfishness.
So, that light is Latios?
This is how you tell an environmental message in a piece of fiction, folks. You don't need to bash audiences over the head or manipulate them with a guilt trip. Just tell a tale that's worth getting invested in and let the eco lesson be the center of the Tootsie Pop. Now, the only problem that I have with this movie sadly comes in the form of our lovable trio, Jessie, James and Meowth, who are unfortunately at the most pointless in this Pokemon movie. Sure, they might sprinkle in some decent cutaway comic relief, but they're ultimately wasted background fodder who don't even get to interact with their criminal peers.
Team Rocket's blasted!
To conclude, Pokemon Heroes is no anime masterpiece, but I still think that it's an enjoyable movie that just happens to be set in the world of Pokemon, with its beautiful and richly cultured setting, charming fairy tale atmosphere, stylish techno-spy villains, and organically told environmental message. Heck, it's most likely an even better film in its native Japanese, and I'd like to watch the subversion sometime to see what I missed out on. The movie was clearly made with Pokemon fans in mind, I know, but compared to the other films in the franchise, Heroes is a less alienating experience for general audiences, and actually a pretty good gateway entry for newbies. Feel free to watch my other Pokemon videos. I've been Jamboree. Cheerio, folks.